What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to preview EA Sports UFC 3. Now, UFC 3 comes out on the PS4 and Xbox One on February 2nd. So this is the third title in EA's UFC franchise. And, I had actually been a fan of at least the first game. Nick and I actually, when the first game first came out, we rented it and we played it and we did create your own character. And we actually really enjoyed it. We didn't buy it. We didn't spend, tens of hours in this game and, exploring it. But we enjoyed just fighting each other, just knocking each other out, punching each other in the face. A lot of fun. And I've been watching this franchise over the last couple games, and I've watched a little bit of UFC 3, and at least what you can say visually, it looks pretty darn good. It looks just as good as you would probably imagine. They're trying to stay obviously with the realism, always trying to look to improve the fighting combat. And in the first game, at least, I can't really speak to the second or what the third feels like, but I like the feel of UFC. I like when you punch, when you kick. It feels real, and looking at least the beta for UFC 3, that looks pretty darn real too. I like its realism. I like its grounded approach. You're going to have multiple modes you can play online, which we're going to talk about very soon. There's a story mode, and that's been expanded where you can now work out deals, and you can have more advertising. You can, you just explore your career mode. They have a bunch of stuff, obviously, to keep you in the game. Obviously, where you're going to spend the bulk of your time is in the actual arena, fighting. And again, it looks fun. It looks interesting. I've never been good at the whole grappling aspect of the martial arts in UFC, but I love just throwing punches, throwing kicks. It's a lot of fun. And I think there's enough depth to make it a game that you can continue to play. I know, Nick and I played it for several hours that night, and we didn't really get tired of it. So I would imagine, especially when you're playing online, if you're playing good enough players, you can keep trying to raise your level of competitiveness and see how good you can possibly be. Now, the thing I want to talk the most about, and I don't want to, but I feel like it's necessary, is the microtransactions. Now, I don't want this to take away from the game. I think UFC 3 has potential to be a pretty solid game. People have really enjoyed the first and second game. It's a solid sports franchise. It's actually one of the better ones, and one that's just randomly started out of nowhere, and it's done really well. And I don't want it, in Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think that's a truly good game, and I think the microtransactions took away from the fact that it is a good game. Now, for UFC 3, it is a little troubling what they're doing. So they pulled the microtransactions out of Star Wars Battlefront, but it seems like they're going all in with UFC. There's going to be loot boxes. There's going to be cards that you can make your character basically more powerful. It's only online, but that's honestly where it's least supposed to be. That's the worst spot you could possibly put it. I know if you watched Jim Sterling's channel, which is a great channel, he covers a lot of these kind of gaming problems that the world now faces, but he had talked about too where you can literally get cards that make your punch more powerful. So if I'm facing somebody online with the same character they have, I can be more powerful than them because I have a card. My punch can actually do more damage than their punch if it's the same character, just because I have the card. And if this is done wrong, which that already sounds wrong, but if it's done wrong in terms of buying the loot boxes or buying whatever kind of, I haven't even seen it, but buying whatever version they have, if that is done wrong with real world money, this will be an absolute disaster. I hope EA doesn't think that because it's UFC, they can kind of slide this under the mat, have it come out, have people spend money. Obviously not as many as maybe would have done it in Battlefront, but maybe the media won't pick it up. Well, let me tell you, people are on EA's case, and they will spot this out in a heartbeat. If UFC 3 comes out and it's broken because of these microtransactions, and they're still in there, and they're just as bad as they sound right now, then EA is going to be in a world of trouble. Gaming journalists, YouTube channels, us, anybody are going to come at them with everything we got. And we kind of have to. We can't make this, this cannot become a normality, and it seems like to EA it is. Again, I don't want this to take away from the game. I hope they tone it down. I hope it's not that bad. I hope that, you can earn it really easy. You can earn money in the game really easily. You don't have to buy it with real world money. And obviously that's probably the point of all microtransactions, is you could do it both ways. But I just hope that this doesn't mess with it, because again, Star Wars Battlefront I think is a good game. I think people have lost sight of that, and they're just criticizing it because of the microtransactions, rightly so. but I think that's the wrong way to go at it. UFC 3, the same way. I think it's going to be a solid game. People have liked the first and second one. It looks beautiful. It looks like it has the atmosphere of a UFC environment, right? It looks fun. This seems like a fun game you could play with friends. I know I had the most fun when I was playing with Nick. So playing with two people, being able to just knock each other out, choke hold, just being able to punch someone straight in the face. I mean, it's funny. It's fun. It's cool. But I hope that this doesn't take away from it and pull away from a game that is probably going to be, at the very least, pretty decent. And if the game's pretty decent, but then this microtransaction thing destroys it, then we're in for a rough ride for UFC. So I hope that's not the case. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think of UFC 3. You're going to get it? Have you played the past games? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. We do previews like this on games and movies every single week. Like and share the video, and I will see you guys on the next game preview.